Start. And, oh, and I gotta test my chat, because I didn't do that. There we go. I probably don't need to, but I'm paranoid. Because I just know that the one day I forget to test my chat is the day that it'll stop working. Okay. Gam? There is Gam. Uh, hello? Why are you doing that? I wasn't doing that before. Why? Why are you doing this now? Sorry, one moment. Let me try something else. There we go. There. Oops. Didn't want to do that. There we go. Sorry, having to do some on-the-fly setup because it was working fine before, and then it did that white screen thing when I started streaming. Which sometimes happens, like, I found that the way to fix that, if it happens, is if you have it on window, if you have a window capture, switch to game capture, or vice versa. Usually one of those two things will work. And I wonder if it's a Unity thing, now that I'm thinking about it, because I think, if I recall correctly, I tried to stream the demo of Nighthawks, like, forever ago. And that was also made in Unity, and it didn't work. And it worked fine when I tested it, and then when I tried to stream it, it did not work. It didn't work at all. Like, even if I tried different window capture versus game capture, it just would not stream properly. So, I don't know. Maybe Unity just doesn't play nice with OBS or something. But whatever. Anyway, technical difficulties aside, good evening, and welcome to a. Well, this was originally going to be a stream of whatever game won my straw poll, which I started last week. That'll still happen, but not yet, because I was approached by a friend and colleague who I worked with on the development of the game Elsinore, which came out a few years ago now. You may recall I streamed that as well, or at least some of it. I should do like a full stream of that game at some point, because it's a good game, even if I do say so myself. I mean, I didn't make it. I helped make it. I QA tested it. But anyway, yeah, so turns out, so two of the devs of Elsinore made this game together, and one of those devs approached me and said, hey, I'm looking for people to stream or make videos or just content, any kind of content about this game, in order to raise interest and awareness of it in anticipation of the second game, which they're currently working on. So I was like, yeah, heck yeah. This game, I've been seeing him tweet about it for a while, and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll check it out sometime. But now I'm actually checking it out. Because it's basically Ace Attorney, but with philosophers instead of lawyers, and I love me some Ace Attorney, and I'm sure a lot of people who watch my channel either also love it or would love it if they played it. So yeah, I'm checking it out, and if you enjoy what you see here, I encourage you to check it out for yourself, and keep an eye out for the second game, which I don't know when that's coming out, but at some point in the future. I may also end up he was also looking for people to play some of the second game as well. I don't know if that's going to be like in a testing capacity or in like a streaming capacity, but we'll see, I guess. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But yeah, this game is free, by the way, on Steam, and I understand it is actually a remake of it was a browser game, I believe. On like, it was, you could play it on sites like Congregate and like JS Games and stuff. Yeah, this is a remake of that. It just came out, I think, a couple months ago, this version of it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Well, let me see the settings first. Musical. I already briefly looked at this when I was setting up because I wanted to see if I could make the window any bigger, but I can't, but that's okay. Oh, Mark asked questions. Let's actually say yes to that. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Objection. No, wait. Prologue. One New York morning. Morning, Ari. You ready for school? I can't believe my name is Socrates. Of course. Guess what? We're talking about John Stuart Mill in class today. Oh, I should preface this by saying I know very little about philosophy and philosophers in general, so a lot of this is probably going to be new to me. I have like a basic understanding of some of this stuff, but we will just have to see how much of this goes way over my head. Who? You're kidding, right? John Stuart Mill? Oh, wait, I think I know. He's a comedian, right? Moral philosopher? Utilitarianism? I see. He's brilliant. Opened up my eyes to a new way to view the world. Dad? Dad! What? Huh? Were you paying attention to anything I just said? Oh, someone's at the door. You can tell me about this later, okay? Well, hurry up. I have school in half an hour. My name is Socrates Jones. Everyone in my family seems to care about philosophy, but I could never really get into it. I'm just an accountant after all. Why should I care about the nature of right and wrong? Well, hey there! Hi? The name's Billy. Billy the salesman. I was traveling this country selling my wares when I saw your shabby apartment and instantly knew there lives a man who appreciates a good deal. Excuse me? How would you like to hear about the fabulous bargains I have for you today? Oh, I'm sorry. I have to take my daughter. What about me? Or sorry. What about me? Ack! Ari, what are you doing here? I got bored. But I just left. Doesn't mean I can't be bored. Who's this guy? I'm glad you asked, little lady. The name's Billy. Billy the salesman. I was traveling this country selling my wares when... Yes. Listen, Billy, I'm sorry, but I really don't... I think we should hear him out. Hey, Overstolo. Oh, I remembered the name... I remember we were talking a couple days ago, or last week, or something like... Last week? Week before that? About when I went to Mexico, and I couldn't remember the name of the town I went to. I asked my mom, and it was San Miguel de Allende. Out of nowhere, randomly remembered a thing we were talking about. Anyway, I think we should hear him out. What? If you don't bother to at least listen, you aren't going to get anywhere. Thank you, miss. You won't regret it. Pretty sure I will. Okay, Billy, let's hear what you got. Right. Oh god. Presentation. Buy my product. I have a great product for you. It's the best there is. Oh god, this music is very reminiscent of the cross-examination theme in Ace Attorney. Intentionally. Incredibly intentionally. It's the best there is. You need my product to do what it does. You don't want those pests around. And that's what I've got for y'all. It is. It was very pretty. Hey, thank you for the raid, Andrew Tenjo. Welcome, welcome. But you hardly told me anything. Horse feathers! I told you my product was the best, didn't I? What more do you need to know? Ariadne Jones, this is all your fault. He didn't tell me anything. What do I do? Well, generally, one goes about getting more information by asking questions. In this case, it's probably most appropriate to ask for clarification. If you can clear up any vagueness surrounding his ideas, you'll be in a much better position to deal with them. Right. Okay, then. Good. Most arguments are made out of multiple statements. Be sure to check them all for anything that seems vague. So, what do you think, partner? You buyin'? Actually, could I hear your pitch again? Sure thing, partner. Okay. Ask for clarification. Also known as press. which means I do it in every single statement. I have a great product for you. And what kind of product would that be exactly? Billy's deer repellent. Oh, okay. That wasn't so hard. Statement updated. The product I've got here is Billy's deer repellent. I'm still not exactly sure what that is. Can you clarify for me? Sure thing. You spray it and it repels deer. That's why it's called deer repellent. Oh, right. Makes sense. I should try to clarify some of his other statements, too. Yes, indeed. Okay, so now it's marked with a check mark to show that I have already asked it. It's the best there is. And what do you mean by that? It's the best. It's better than the rest. It's really good at doing what it does, partner. Right. I guess there's no clarifying this bit of sales speak. You need my product to do what it does. And, what does it do exactly? Why, it only protects you from danger, the danger of deer. And trust me, you can use all the protection you can get. Well, his argument's much clearer now. Maybe I do need this deer repellent after all. Are you serious? What, am I wrong? Dad, you can't just let an argument go unexamined no matter how clearly stated. Especially when someone's trying to talk you into buying deer repellent. But I got him to clarify everything. What else is there to do? Come on, Dad. In a situation like this, if something seems to be on shaky ground, you need to press for backing. Make sure he can support his statements with foundational ideas. Hello, I'm still here. Right, sorry, can I hear your pitch again? You don't think you've run into an Ace Attorney latent clone? There aren't that many. There are some out there. I can think of another one, although now I'm forgetting what it's called. It's basically Ace Attorney with birds. It's like pigeon something. It's not Huntful Boyfriend, but it's something involving birds. I haven't played it, but I should. Right, sorry, can I hear your pitch again? Again? Well, okay. Okay, press for backing. Okay. You need my product to protect you from the danger of deer. Oh yes, thank you. There's also the Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law game. I forgot that existed. Apparently it's good. You don't want those pests around. What pests are you talking about? Deer. Odocoileus, the bane of American life. They are a menace, I tell ya. A menace! What exactly do you mean? My product will protect you from deer. It will keep deer from hurting you, from damaging your well-being. That clear enough for you? What evidence do you have to support that statement? You see the bottles in my bag? Yes. They say Billy's deer repellent on them. I think it's safe to say that's the name of the product, don't you? Okay. It's the best there is. Can you back that statement up? Sure thing, partner. My product is everything better than competing products. Therefore, it is by definition the best. There are competing products? Well, no. but that means, without a doubt, mine's the best. Hey, maybe I should call it Billy's best deer repellent. Can you back that up? Well, you never know when a deer will attack. And if you don't have my product, you'll be in quite a predicament, partner. Better to be safe than sorry. Hold on. I'm not sure I buy this. We're talking about deer, right? That's right. As in Bambi? Well, yeah, I guess, partner. I see. Are you really trying to tell me Bambi poses a threat to my well-being? That's going to take quite a bit of convincing. Bambi is dangerous, partner. He may look cute, but that deer's a little monster. Let me tell you why deer are a menace to our society. I mean, also Bambi's like a baby deer, and full-grown deer, especially, you know, the ones with antlers, you don't mess with them. I also have been playing Yakuza 5, and there's a hunting minigame in that, and deer will mess you up. Not as much as bears will, but they'll still mess you up. They eat our crops. They steal our jobs. What? Every year they cause accidents and injuries. Why, the only reason you're safe is that I'm here with my repellent. And there we go. As you can see, those darn deer threaten our very way of life. Threat, huh? I'm not sure if everything you've said here is true. You know, Dad, in a debate you can do more than just ask questions. In fact, sometimes that just won't cut it. Oh? Sometimes you may need to challenge your opponent with a counterpoint. Some fact or observation which throws a wrench in the presumption his statement is true. For example, the fact deer live in the woods might throw a wrench in one of Billy's statements here. You don't fuck with any animals that can kickbox. Moose have a short fuse. Moose bites are nasty. If you find that statement and present this observation to counter it, you should be home free. When you get a useful idea, I'll write it down for you in the idea slate. Okay. That would be the evidence that we would present. Alright, I'll go ahead and do that then, I guess. You need to be careful though, Dad. If you say really stupid things, you'll lose credibility with your audience. From now on, your moves can affect your credibility. Okay, that's the life bar, or the penalties in Ace Attorney. If you lose all of your credibility, you will forfeit the argument. But wait, hold on, I'm just fact-checking a salesman. Who am I going to lose credibility with? Me. Oh. Your face is ugly. Added to the idea slate. Okay, so idea crowd. Your face is ugly. My opponent only believes what he does because his face looks like a baboon's backside. Deer live in the woods. Deer are most commonly found in large wooded areas, away from the bustle of people. Okay. They eat our crops. What do you mean by that? Deer eat the plants farmers grow. A deer could eat a whole bushel of corn without breaking a sweat. What evidence do you have to back that up? Do you know what deer are, partner? They are herbivores. That means they eat plants. Lots of them. Can you imagine living without steak? Horrible. Well, crops are plants, so those darn deer will eat them. Yeah, I kind of am too. They steal our jobs. What do you mean by that? Deer take jobs from the working man. Companies hire them instead of normal folks. What? Cheap labor. You only need to pay them in leaves. I see. Really? And how exactly do they do that? Well, you see, corporate sabotage? Corporate sabotage. Okay, they don't actually steal our jobs. Oh, you can get credibility back. Oh, that's cool. I was just being dramatic. Every year they cause accidents and injuries. Oh, that's cool. All right. So yeah, you just, he just removes the statement from his testimony, or sorry, presentation. Okay, so there's kind of, yeah, there's a good reason to like to just spam everything, which I already do anyway. But it looks like this game will actually reward you for doing that sometimes. Nice. Every year they cause accidents and injuries. Can you clarify that for me? Do you know what an injury is? Well, of course. And what accidents are? Yes. Then I think my statement is pretty clear, partner. Do you have any evidence to support that? To support that deer cause injuries? Have you ever heard of the term deer in the headlights? Well, it turns out that term comes from real-life deer. They stand in the middle of the road and just get hit. Causes all sorts of horrible crashes. It's quite terrible, believe me. Okay, I buy it. Well, the only reason you're safe is that I'm here with my repellent. What do you mean by that? If I wasn't here, this street would be swarming with deer. Deer, everywhere, hurting everybody. Why, it's too horrible to even comprehend. How can you be so sure? Tell me, partner, do you see any deer around? Well, no. There you go, my deer repellent at work. Unless you can give me a reason to doubt it, I see no reason anyone should think otherwise. Dad, do you think you could oblige him? Objection! Nonsense! Billy, can you tell me where deer most commonly reside? Forests, mountains, and plains, I reckon, right? That sounds about right. And where are we now? New York City. Exactly. So then tell me, Billy, when was the last time you heard of a deer in New York City? Ack! It's highly unlikely a deer will show up in any city, let alone in New York. Do you really think you can take credit for the fact there are no deer around? But, way to go, Dad. Maybe if we were living in the wilderness, we would need your deer repellent. But as we live in the middle of a city, I hardly see the point. I highly doubt Bambi's going to wander down Main Street. He'd be hit in an instant. Clearly, your repellent is of no use. So I hardly think I need to buy... Now listen here, mister. It seems to me y'all are being unfair. I'll admit you have a point, but you are failing to consider all the finer qualities of this here product. Is that so? It sure is. Let me explain to you what y'all are missing. Why my product is still useful to you. My product comes in a fine blue casing. Each letter of the label is hand-painted. My grandma toiled over the design. Clearly, my product would still be useful to you. Ari, I don't think I have any evidence to counter these points. You know, even if a point is supported, it may not be related to the conclusion. If that's the case, it really doesn't matter if it's supported or not. The point has no place being presented in the discussion. So, objection, relevance. I think I get it. You're saying in such situations I should question relevance for the statement. Well, that's what John Stuart Mill would do. It's not useful for us to listen to statements that have no connection to the overall argument. If we're discussing economics, for example, it really doesn't matter how well you support the fact purple is the best color. Ari, you and I will get along just fine. Purple shirt team represent. Of course not. We all know green is anyway. You know what? You're both right. Getting back on track. Even if the statement is relevant, questioning can be a great way to see how everything fits together. I guess I should go forward with questioning him then. Okay. Questioning relevance. My product comes in a fine blue casing. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? The spray cans are blue. Didn't they teach you anything in school? Can you back this up? Can you see these canisters here? Yes. What color are they? Blue. They're bright blue. Well, there we go. Was that so hard? How is this related to your conclusion? Blue is pretty, partner. Go on. Therefore, the fact my product is pretty makes it more useful? I don't think so. Each letter of the label is hand-painted. What do you mean by this? I mean, I picked up a paintbrush and painted it on myself. I always fancy myself a bit of an artist. I have an exhibit at the Guggenheim. No, you don't. You do? Well, no. But I dreamed I did once. If you had an exhibit at the Guggenheim, you probably wouldn't be going around selling fake-ass deer repellent. Then again, who knows? Maybe he would be. Can you back that up? Sure, partner. If you line these cans up, you'll see they're all different. Why, look, this one here says beer repellent. What fine craftsmanship. How is this related to your conclusion? Art is craftsmanship. And things being done by machine, that's not craftsmanship. Okay, great, but how does this craftsmanship make your product more useful? Okay, fine, you made your point. Let's move on. My grandma toiled over the design. What do you mean by this? My grandma spent hours designing this for me. That's why it's so darn pretty. Can you back this up? She told me she did. You would question the honesty of an old lady? Maybe? I won't have it, partner. How is this related to your conclusion? Quality takes effort, partner. Surely the amount of time my gran poured into it contributes to its value. Not really? Ack! Heartless! Just heartless. No respect for the elderly. Very well, have it your way, partner. Billy! Ah! Don't hurt me! Oh, the yelling. It's too much for my heart to bear. Relax, I'm not gonna hurt you. Just your sales pitch. Oh. Okay, that's good. Wait, no. Actually, I don't think I like that. Well, I'm afraid there is no avoiding it. Billy, you are trying to sell me a product based on its usefulness to me. But its aesthetic qualities and methods of manufacturing, while nice, offer no function which benefits me. At this point, you are grasping at straws to convince me to buy your product, and you know it. I'm not going to hurt you. Yet. Well, okay then. Huh? It's been nice chatting with you, but I've got clients to find. There are many fish in the sea, and it's clear you ain't one of mine. Oh, okay. Bye? Well, that was fun. Fun? I think you mean infuriating. How much time do you have left before school? Relax, Dad. I'm sure I'm fine. We still have... Oh. Negative half an hour. What? We've got to get going. I can't believe we lost track of time. It's all that fool Billy's fault. Billy and his idiotic deer repellent. Now you're going to be late for school, and you'll probably be expelled, and your mother will never forgive me. Not that she talks to me anymore anyway. The best of its kind. Ha! But it's not competing with anything. I mean, what would it compete with? Harry's Deer Vanisher? Dad, honestly, people believe they can sell you on anything these days, wasting our time. The nerve! They think we're a bunch of fools. Dad! Or we could just be convinced we should buy a stupid product we'll never, ever need. I mean, aesthetic qualities. I ask you. Dad, look out! Oh, no! No, dear! Oh, dear. Chapter 1. Through the Looking Glass. Hey, look! A new arrival! Do you think he's okay? Of course he's not okay, Rousseau. He wouldn't be here if he was okay. Well, maybe he's okay in the spiritual sense. Oh, my head. I didn't think it was possible to feel this much pain. Hold on, he's coming too. Hey, buddy, what's your name? Socrates? Sorry, didn't quite catch that. It's Socrates. Socrates. Did he say Socrates? Oh my god. Oh my god! He's back! He's back! Socrates is back! Quick, let's take him to the Arbiter. Huh? Hold on, what? No! Put me down! What? What? What is going on? Where have you taken me? Greetings, great thinker Socrates. Ah! Demon! Please, Please don't eat me. Oh, credibility, goodbye. This is not the great thinker Socrates. The great thinker Socrates was much wiser, and far more bearded. Yeah, I could have told you that. Ari! Oh, thank God you're okay. Did it hurt you? Hi, Dad. Oh, you are kin to Ariadne Jones, a sharp thinker. We were just discussing the nature of existence. I suppose I should introduce myself. I am the Arbiter, overseer of the intelligible realm. The what realm? The intelligible realm, the realm of ideas. The plane from which all thought originates, and the final resting place for those who concern themselves with the art of philosophy. The final... Wait, hold on a moment. Do not worry, Socrates. Your presence here is entirely a mistake. You are no philosopher, after all. Your interesting name must have confused the existential sorting algorithm. I must have a word with Turing. And, Ari? Still alive. Her knowledge, I'm sure, contributed to this misfiling. Oh, thank God. Okay, not that I'm not enjoying this peek behind the mortal curtain, but, what does that mean for us? Well, Ariadne Jones, I suppose it means you can leave. Where did that come from? That wasn't there a moment ago. Right now, in the real world, you are unconscious. Comatose may be more appropriate. But the moment you step through the gate, you will wake up in your hospital bed in New York. In a large amount of pain, but alive. It's going to be painful? It would be, yes. But you have no need to worry now, Socrates. There is no pain in your future. Oh? I got out of the crash uninjured? Not exactly. Oh no. You don't mean... I apologize for the confusion. I said Socrates was not a philosopher. I never meant to imply he was not dead. When you leave, we'll get him filed away to the appropriate afterlife. One involving a lot of numbers, I suppose. Is this a joke to you, Arbiter? No, it is simply the way of the world. You have a life, he does not. There is no way he can possibly leave. But you can't just... He's my dad! Ari, stop, please. But, look, as much as I hate it, I'm not sure we can talk our way out of this one. So for now, just listen, okay? This might be the last time we get to speak. Will you just know I love you and tell your mother I'm sorry for me, please? Remember to do your homework and water the plants, and don't stay out too late. Arbiter, can I talk to you for a moment? Of course. What? Ari, Hold that thought, Dad. I'll be right back. I was saying my goodbyes. Emotional damage. This is kind of killing my moment. Well, Socrates, I must amend my initial statements. There is, in actuality, one way out. There is? Yes, an ancient wager, set down by the original Arbiter and reserved for the best of thinkers. After talking with your daughter, I have decided to offer you a chance at this challenge. If you can provide an answer to one of the great philosophical questions, the nature of morality, one request will be granted. An answer? Yes, a way to think about morality that is internally consistent and compatible with the realities of the world. However, in this game you are only allotted one chance, and if I find your answer uninsightful, I'm stuck here. Correct. All parties involved must remain here for eternity. But if he is able to find the nature of morality, we can both walk through that door? Correct. Okay, Ari, fess up. What on earth did you do? Not much. I just told him you're actually a brilliant debater, is all. He is a master debater. What? Are you crazy? I'm an accountant. I can't... Ari, I appreciate the sentiment, but we both know I don't know anything about philosophy. Look, it's not like you're going to be alone. I'm going to stay, and there are people here who know even more than I do. Just give it a shot, please. The rules really don't stop me from asking others for help. Yes, I know. Avert your eyes and your ears. No, they do not. However, you will have to use your own judgment to determine whether the ideas that others provide meet the criteria established. I know I'm going to regret this. Very well then, Arbiter. I accept your wager. So be it. The door will reopen when you have completed your task. I wish you luck. Is that... Okay, that's the dialogue log. And there's a save. Yay! Save progress. Well, I suppose I should get started. Can anyone here help me find the nature of morality? Dang, I wasn't expecting, like, philosophical debate for my life. The stakes are raised. What is that? Sounds like an earthquake. Really? I thought it was more like a football game. Now you've done it. Huh? Me! Talk to me! I know the answer, I swear I do! Morality is purely conceptual. It cannot be defined. No, morality is found in the circumference of the moon! Ah! What the hell? Let me go! Arbiter, do something. What? Is he not getting help? His little, like, smiley face. You call this help? They're gonna tear him apart. Very well, if you insist. Yeah. What are they gonna do? Kill him some more? Silence! Order! One of you will come forward at a time, and no more. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. At least for a little while. Stand here and giggle. Now, which of you thinks they can help this accountant answer his question? Euthyphro. I believe I can. Ah, of course. Euthyphro of Athens. How do you fare? Quite well, noble arbiter. Who's this guy? Euthyphro was a prominent religious scholar and priest back in ancient Greece. He famously debated your namesake many millennia ago. Indeed, my pious ways were known and respected throughout the land. As a sophist, it was my job to educate those who were ignorant, such as yourself. Ah, I see. Hey, wait a minute! Listen, my child, and I will share my insight with you. Fun. Good is what is holy. Okay. My religious studies have given me insight into the nature of right and wrong. Human beings are fallible and vain. They make mistakes. A god, however, is a superior being. Everyone possesses wisdom far beyond our own. Thus, whatever a god commands must be good. And there you have it, the source of morality. Mankind is flawed, added to the idea slate. Let's check it out. Oh. Morality comes from the gods. Okay. Mankind is flawed. Euthyphro believes that sentient beings are flawed and often make bad judgments. True. I can get behind that. Morality comes from the gods. Euthyphro believes good things are good because gods like them. That's debatable. Is there a problem, child? Well, I'm not exactly religious. I see. Poor unfortunate soul. Poor unfortunate soul. I've had that song stuck in my head for the past, week, and I have no idea why. Having strayed so far from the light. If you allow your mind to remain clouded, you will never win your way out of here. Clouded, huh? Ari? Listen, Dad. Euthyphro's argument benefits from its simple nature, but I can't help but feel he's making it more simple than it actually is. Okay, so what can I do? Sometimes, by examining an argument closely, you can find assumptions that were previously unstated. I bet you could find something here like that. More information is always useful and can help you get to the bigger issues. Yes. Yes. I bet, actually, oh, so Mellow, I bet that's where this is going. Well, Socrates, is this the answer you seek? I don't think I'm ready to bet my life on the gods just yet, Arbiter. Euthyphro, I think I need to ask you a few questions. All right, Dad. Good luck. Okay. let's go through the motions. What do you mean by that? What exactly are you confused about, Socrates? I understand your mind is clouded, child, but I believe my statement is clear. My studies of religious texts have given me insight beyond your own. Ouch. Right, my religious studies have given me insight into the nature of right and wrong. Can you back that up? Of course, my child. A large part of religion is providing moral guidance. Thus, as a priest, I have been often called to give moral advice. Hence, my insight. Okay. How is this related to your argument? Let's say I was not a priest. Let's say I was an accountant, like yourself. I would have little foundation upon which to discuss morality. Credibility is essential, child. You should learn this. Hey, I'm perfectly credible. In fact, I'm incredible. Wait. Okay. Right, so challenges. Okay. That's if I think I have him in something. I don't necessarily have him in something. Okay. Human beings are fallible and vain. They make mistakes. What do you mean by that? Human beings are prone to error. They often make incorrect judgments as to what is right and wrong. Is that clear now, my child? Can you back that up? Do you believe men to be perfect? Maybe? If they were, I wouldn't have gotten in that accident. I wouldn't be here. Interesting. Well, looking at you, child, I can assure you they are not. Ow. Can you back that up? Actually, don't. You know what? Better off not knowing. How is this related to your conclusion? The fact human beings are vain shows they are not as reliable as the gods. I mean, have you met Greek gods? Yeah. Just based on the words flammable and inflammable. That's reason enough for yes, thank you, yes. A god, however, is a superior being. What do you mean by this? A god has abilities far beyond our comprehension. These abilities render them superior to us mere mortals. Can you back that up? My child, can you throw lightning or create storms? Did you create the world in 7 days? Did you turn your daughter into a tree for her own protection? Well, no. Well, my child, each of these things was done by a god. Clearly, they are superior. How is this related to your conclusion? Accepting a god's superiority is a crucial step toward enlightenment. Here, I begin to set you on that enlightened path. Okay. Everyone possesses wisdom far beyond our own. Everyone? Excuse me? You said everyone. Your point, child? Well, I've been assuming you were referring to the commands of a specific deity, but... Well, which god are we talking about? Oh gods, give me the strength to deal with this ingrate. That doesn't answer my question. Right now, is there a particular god giving you strength? Does it matter? There are many gods. Greek, Hebrew, Egyptian, Norse. There are differences between them, but any would fit the ideas I described here. Okay, there are different gods. I see. Good work, Dad. Huh? You've uncovered an unstated part of Euthyphro's views by closely examining his argument. Finding things like this can really help you out. If you don't have enough tools, the person you are debating may just hand you some. Now get back in there and find the larger problem. Wait, hold on. Are you telling me this idea is going to be useful? I don't know. Maybe? You're supposed to figure this out yourself, remember? I think I'm already pushing the helping you threshold, dead guy. Right. Right, there are different gods. Euthyphro's philosophy applies to all gods, though they might have different ideas. I wish the Mark answered, or Mark asked question would stay, even when the argument changes. Because if the statements are the same, then the marks should stay. Okay, everyone possesses wisdom far beyond our own, yes. What do you mean? Are we doing the everyone thing again, child? Because I swear, no, I mean, what do you actually mean? The entire sentence, not just the first words. Ah, well then. I believe this is relatively straightforward. The gods possess wisdom we cannot possibly hope to approach. Okay. Can you back that up? Being immortal, the gods have had infinite years of learning and experience. Their immortality gives them perspective we cannot hope to achieve. Wait, but isn't everyone here immortal in a sense? No, we are all dead, child. There is a difference. Wisdom is derived from experience with the world, and our experiences in that regard have ended. Speak for yourself. I'm not done yet. How is this related to your conclusion? The gods' superior wisdom is what gives them credibility as sources of morality. But wise does not necessarily mean good, right? A god's commands define what is good, child. By definition under my philosophy, the way they apply their wisdom cannot be false. Your attempt to say so is based on your own perceptions of what is good. Heretical notions developed by someone far less wise than a god. Okay. Thus, whatever a god commands must be good. What do you mean? Simply that the gods are the source of morality. There is no better place from which to receive guidance. Can you back that up? My child, who is more fit to judge morality, a wise man or a fool? The wise man, of course. And as all gods have infinite wisdom, we should defer to their judgment. Thus, gods are the ideal source of morality. How was this related to your conclusion? If there can be no sounder source of morality than the gods, then there is little reason to doubt that gods are the source of morality. Okay, let's see. Alright, I now have a better understanding of his position. There has to be a way to use that to my advantage. Come on, Socrates, think. There's too much at stake here. Okay. Whatever a god commands must be good. Yeah, but... Okay, okay. Oh, wait, shit. No, I've clicked the wrong one. Damn it. This is what is wrong with your argument. Is it, child? I think so. I'm not so sure. Okay, whoops. Wrong one. Let's scroll down. This is the one. Nonsense! Euthyphro, if we could stop for a moment, I'd like to clear up a few things. You said different religions have different gods, right? Yes, child. And sometimes these gods have different views. Indeed. Piety comes in many forms. Okay. Dad, is something up? I don't know. I may have found a problem here. Really? That's great. Go ahead and present it. Dad, Sorry, this is just a little intimidating. What if everyone laughs at me? Just present it, Dad. No one's gonna laugh at you. This isn't some deer repellent salesman. This is the real deal. Real things are at stake here, like me. Dad, just present it. Okay. Euthyphro, there is a problem with your position. Is that so, child? It is so. Look, you claim morality comes from the gods, that we can trust whatever they command is right. But if the gods disagree, that puts your idea in a weird place. You yourself said we can't judge their wills for ourselves, but when different gods think different things are good, what would actually be good? That would make the gods impossible to use as a source of morality. Right? That was a pretty lackluster presentation, Dad. Hey! While this may be true, the validity of an argument is not rooted in style points. Despite lacking both flair and vocabulary, Socrates has a valid point. Wow, the shade! As I believe you already know, Euthyphro. Humph. Yes, as I recall, the first Socrates made very similar points. And what, you just decided to ignore them? Arrogant son of a... Like you, he lacked the faith required to see the truth. Your blasphemy will not take you as far as you think. Poor child. Let me show you where you have lost your way. On divine disagreements. It is true different deities have different desires in my religion and between religions. I admit this may be a source of confusion. However, there are many points on which these divine beings agree. For example, most deities agree it is wrong to kill without cause. Most. Clearly what the gods agree upon is always good. Is that better, child? Well said, Euthyphro. Thank you, Arbiter. As you can see, my child, the gods overcome all obstacles. What are you thinking, Dad? Well, his argument's certainly more nuanced now, but something tells me it still won't stand up to examination. Humph. I'm sorry, Euthyphro, but I still have some questions for you. Okay, it is true different deities have different desires in my religion and between religions. It was your objection, child. Are you claiming to not understand your own statement? No, I'm good. Backing. Do I need to? You yourself supported this point 5 minutes ago. Did you not believe it yourself? No, I definitely... Yeesh. Relevance. My new conclusion addresses your objection. Restating your objection seemed like the best place to begin. I admit this may be a source of confusion. Clarification. Only that one less enlightened than myself might, say, not be able to work around it. Right. So much passive-aggressive. It confused you, did it not? There, my statement is backed. Ouch! Euthyphro, you're a sassy bitch. It was a comment recognizing the problem. Not all of us ignore the issues with our statements, child. Oh, please. Teach me your humble ways, Father Perfect. The sass! Just because gods disagree on some things does not mean they disagree on all. Be patient, my child. I'll get to it. The fact the gods can agree is essential to debunking your ridiculous objection. Most deities. I think this is pretty clear, child. To take the life of another is wrong. Many gods agree about this, don't you? Are you familiar with the Quran? Anyone who kills a human being, it shall be as though he has killed all of mankind. And in Hinduism, he who commits murder must be considered as the worst offender. There are countless examples throughout religions. It is an example reaffirming my point. Dad, do you really need such things laid out for you? Yes, I do, in fact, and don't shame me for it. If the gods agree upon something, we can be sure that something is good. Their collective wisdom is incalculable, after all. Excuse me? Why couldn't something the gods agree on be bad? The gods, in their superior wisdom, would never agree upon something that wasn't good. They would only tell us to do things that would lead to positive ends. To suggest otherwise is blasphemy. Huh. Interesting. Indeed. And if you don't mind, I think I'd like to further examine that idea. The same way Zeus is related to Jupiter. They are one and the same. Oh, his conclusion is gone. For surely if things are good, the gods will agree upon them. Well, that sounds like circular reasoning to me. What do you mean by that? If the gods look at something, they would not all agree upon it unless it was clearly moral or immoral. We have established gods possess infinite wisdom, have we not? While there may be some slight variance between them, these infinitely wise beings will surely come down on the same side when dealing with important matters. Like the aforementioned example of murder. It shows why the previous statement can stand as true. don't know what to do, Ari. This seems to have fixed many of the problems with his previous argument. Did it? Just because all the same words are there doesn't mean the argument falls the same way. Think very carefully about how this might be different from what we heard before. Back to the top. Clearly I'm missing something here. Okay, let's see. If things are good, the gods will agree upon them. I feel like it's gonna be one of these two statements, I think. Let's try them both. What now, child? Yeesh. He's glaring at me again. Now, pull yourself together, Socrates. You have a point to make, so make it. Did you intend to speak, child, or did you just shout nonsense for your own amusement? Right, sorry. Okay, Euthyphro. The core of your argument is that morality comes from the gods, right? Yes, my child. And this is true because gods would only command what is good, yes? Also true. There may be hope for you yet. Is that so? Because I think you just revealed a major problem in your argument. What? I have no idea what you mean, child. Really? Well, then let me ask you one last question. Are things good because gods command them? Or do gods merely command things because they are good? What? Look, Euthyphro, you have said over and over the gods would never ask us to do something bad. That they restrict their commands to things which would be good for mankind. But in order for this to be true, wouldn't the things they command have to already be good? Look at his eye twitch. They would need to have value rooted in something other than the gods. Oh, nice catch, Dad. The fact is, even in a world where gods existed, they could not be the source of good. They would merely serve to point out good things which already exist. Good things that are good because of other things. Excellent point, Socrates Jones. Very clearly presented. I agree, though maybe I should coach you on vocab. Things isn't exactly a scholarly term. Thanks, I think, but I'm most concerned with Euthyphro's thoughts. What do you say, Euthyphro? Are moral actions good because the gods command them, or do the gods command moral actions because they are good? No. No! Just as I thought. You've got nothing. You talk a big game, but you clearly haven't thought your points through. There's no way I could accept this argument as my own. It's too... holy. Insolent wretch! I try to help save you, and this is how you repay me? You won't last to win your way out of here, child. The gods will smite you for your blasphemy. Will they? Somehow I think I'll be fine. I've already died once, after all. What more could happen? There are no limits on the extent of smiting. Just you wait. You'll be nothing but a pile of dust, of smolder, a warning to all who would dare insult the gods. Silence! Meep. I believe we've heard enough from you, Euthyphro. Socrates was right to question you. In the end, your philosophy failed to measure up. Go and reflect upon this. But go and reflect. Yes, Arbiter. Proof of logic. Yeah, it's a very good eye twitch. Chapter 2, an old friend appears. Whee! Okay, Dad. Regress? To to deteriorate into an earlier state. Okay. Fallacy? A logical flaw. I can't believe I'm being quizzed on vocabulary by my daughter. And qualification? Come on, Dad. Something you need to qualify? Like a law degree. Close enough. Can we stop now? Depends. Promise not to stumble all over yourself like last time, she says, stumbling all over herself. Fallacy, resembling the male reproductive organ. Fallacy. Hey, I didn't do too badly in the end. I earned all the style points. Yeah, you were at least smart enough not to accept Euthyphro's ideas. Though, I could have done without the holy pun. Oh, come on, he's a dad. Let him make dad jokes. I'm trying to keep our spirits up. I'm allowed a bad pun or two. And this is your way of doing that? Arbiter, who's next? There are many philosophers in the intelligible realm. One, however, has come forth with the claim he knows you personally. Knows me? Yes. But that makes no sense. How could he possibly know you? I don't know. Maybe one of my old fraternity friends became a famous philosopher without me knowing? One of your friends? I doubt that. Well met, Socrates, my old friend and colleague. I believe I can help you on your quest to find the nature of morality. Great, thanks. Actually, I don't believe we've ever met before. What? Oh, come now. You must remember me. Look at this face. Surely a name comes to mind. Heisenberg? Protagoras! How could you have forgotten? We debated in Athens millennia ago. But I've never even been to Athens. Are you not the great thinker Socrates? No! Well, to be fair, I am a Socrates, but enough. Even if you have sadly forgotten me, old friend, I will be happy to share my lessons with you. Well then, let us hold our discussion together in our own persons, making trial of the truth and of ourselves. Okay. The source is the self. Simple elimination will demonstrate morality can only come from one place. Your conversation with Euthyphro has demonstrated that morality doesn't come from the gods, and clearly morality does not originate from the rocks and the trees. Thus, the only possible source of morality is human valuing. As you can see, man is truly the measure of all things. I hope my lesson was informative, my old friend. I've told you, Pythagoras, I don't know you. Chill, Dad. At least he's being polite. You don't know how that will change if he discovers you're an accountant. And what's wrong with being an accountant? It's a perfectly acceptable profession. Well, Socrates Jones, what do you think? Has Protagoras found the nature of morality? Is he trying to bait me? No, he's trying to debate you. I think I'd like to ask a few questions before I make that decision. Certainly, my friend. Ask away. Alright, let's give this another go. Well, I mean, on the surface, I'm willing to accept the premise. Because, I mean, who defines morality but people, right? But, yeah, let's see where we're going with this. Simple elimination will demonstrate morality can only come from one place. When all other possible sources of morality are eliminated, the one that remains is indubitably true. This is how I intend to prove my conclusion. Give me time, my old friend. I'm getting to it. I'm describing the method I will use to prove my thesis. Oops. Okay. I think my statement is pretty clear, but if you need to reference the source, please review your last argument. Your conversation with Euthyphro has demonstrated that morality doesn't come from the gods. Excuse me? I believe you did this yourself, did you not? Right. Never mind. The elimination of the gods as a source of morality is a key step in drawing my conclusion. And clearly morality does not originate from the rocks and the trees. Morality is not derived from nature. The flow of the river, the movement of the clouds, such things do nothing for our judgment. What about the circumference of the moon? Also irrelevant. Good to know. I knew that suggestion was ridiculous. Being a system that governs the actions of humans, there is little reason to believe morality comes from the things that grow around us. Thus, in this case, I believe the burden of proof lies on you. Unless you can provide some evidence showing morality does come from rocks and trees, I think Protagoras' assumption stands. Right. Okay, then. The elimination of nature whittles down the possible sources of morality immensely. Human valuing. What does that mean? My apologies. You see, morality is a matter of preference. As a result, it is different for each person. Therefore, whatever an individual believes to be right is right. Huh. Okay. Well, that's shaky. Whatever any individual believes is right for that individual. Okay, but that's not morality then. I don't think we can define that as morality. I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm not sure how to clarify further. It's the only remaining option, my friend. Is that not enough? Hold on, Protagoras. Yes, friend? Look, I understand what you're going for here, but I can't help but feel an argument based entirely on elimination is a bit weak. I mean, no matter how many sources you eliminate, there's always the possibility there are others you've overlooked. If I am to accept your argument, I would like it to be supported by something more. Indeed. I was just thinking the same thing. Yes, I suppose you have a point. You are just as insightful as I remember, Socrates. Very well. Let me approach this lesson from a different angle. Morality is up to the individual. When it comes down to it, morality is a matter of values. However, different people form different values. There are no things on which everyone can agree. It would be arrogant to presume that any position is wrong. Thus, we can only conclude that morality is entirely relative to the individual. And there we go. Huh, how interesting. I like this argument. It says I can do whatever I want. That's not what he's saying. At least, I hope not. Well, Socrates? Once again, I'd like to ask a few questions. Of course, my friend. Ask away. Yeah, it's basically saying that everybody can do whatever they want, and it's, by definition, moral. Which I don't think is a thing anyway, a thing we can agree on. It's more of a social thing? Like a general consensus. Multiple people have to agree, I think. When it comes down to it, morality is a matter of values. By values, I mean the personal preferences of individuals. For example, one may hold certain actions in very high esteem, noble sacrifice, for instance, while holding nothing but disgust for other actions, like wanton thievery. I do hate when people steal my wontons. If you truly are confused, I recommend you check a dictionary. I don't believe I need to, my friend. The definition of morality is values which distinguish between right and wrong, is it not? So I think my statement stands firm. Oh, alright then. As I mentioned before, human valuing is the foundation of my argument. Do I have... Okay, no, I don't have anything on my idea slate. Interesting. However, different people form different values. Different values? Yes. People believe in different things. They have different preferences. You have to admit, Dad, that's pretty clear. You just finished debating with Euthyphro. Tell me, what do you think he valued? Piety, the gods, and being a condescending jerk. Indeed. And do you value these same things? No. Exactly. You two built your moral systems upon different values. This is just one example. In the world, there are many more. The fact people have different values is key. I mean, if everyone believed the same thing, there wouldn't be much to support my thesis, would there? There are no things upon which everyone can agree. Not only may people's values differ, they may lead them to make entirely contradictory conclusions, much like the gods of Euthyphro. I find that hard to believe. Is that so? You remember our old Athenian democracy, do you not? Sure, why not? Well then, surely you must also remember that on most issues people disagreed on what was the right way to vote. Some thought our penalties for crime were too harsh, while others thought our penalties were not harsh enough. Doesn't go far enough. Why, as you know, it was even argued you should be put to death for speaking out. Wait, what? Speech penalty! According to Protagoras, some people believe that those who speak out should be put to death. It provides further support for my thesis that people have different preferences, old friend. It also shows the consequences of the previous premise. It would be arrogant to presume that any position is wrong. It is not our place to decide if another's moral perspective is wrong. Why would it be arrogant? Oh, come now. Do you really believe we can say one who believes eating pie is immoral is more correct than one who is against eating cake? Wait, what? That's a rather silly example coming from an academic. As you can see, there is no way we can say one moral system is better than another. I guess. It's the linchpin of my argument, really. As morality is subjective, we cannot assess others' opinions as a consequence. It also shows the consequences of the previous premise. That strikes me as worrisome. By relative to the individual, I mean that each person may decide for himself what is right and what is wrong. I believe the context should help illuminate my point. I believe I just did? We can only conclude that morality is entirely relative to the individual. That is my conclusion, actually. Okay. It would be arrogant to presume that any position is wrong. Okay, then... Then why? Hold it right there, old friend. I still can't buy your argument. You claim it's impossible to say someone else's values are wrong, but that's simply not true. Oh, come now, old friend. Not impossible. Arrogant. Do you really believe we can say one who believes eating pie is immoral is more correct than I'd like to put forth a different example? You yourself said there are individuals who believe that those who speak out should be executed, did you not? Of course. Well, I was thinking about the position of these individuals, and it occurred to me, without a free and open debate, we wouldn't even be able to discuss the things we are discuss the things we are here. Oh, excellent observation, Socrates. Thank you, Arbiter. Protagoras, for just a moment, consider the consequences of that argument. If free speech were punished so, society would stagnate. Science and thought would come to a halt. Such side effects should not result from logical thinking. Gah! Free speech is one of many things now considered to be rights. Societies improve by their existence. Can you really argue that those who believe such things should be persecuted have validity? I hardly think it arrogant to express doubts in this position. Dad, this is actually kind of impressive. Indeed. Well constructed, Socrates. The fact is, while you can argue most things are based upon the individual, your philosophy falls apart when dealing with extremes. Such positions are indefensible regardless of what an individual thinks. And thus, morality cannot be entirely determined by the individual. I appreciate the energy, old friend, and you have raised some good points. I must confess, though, I am a little confused as to why you have suddenly changed your position on free speech. Wait, what? The original Socrates was anti-free speech, Dad. Though, come to think of it, that didn't stop him from complaining when he was put to death for blasphemy. Everyone makes mistakes. Regardless, my counter-argument is solid, right? No, not quite. What? You raised some good points, but not perfect points. Give me a moment, and I will show you the flaws in what you just proposed. Right. Yeah, we can kind of go back and forth on this one. All morals are subjective. It is true, my friend, that most people agree on things such as free speech. However, that does not mean such things are universal goods. Yeah. For example, if one was to yell fire in a crowded theater, causing mayhem and panic, it is hard to see how that instance of speech would then be good. As morality is affected by situation, it cannot be objective. And there you have it. Rights, as a legal institution, may be good, but the morality of how you use them can vary. Very interesting points. Very well. Socrates, you may now ask Protagoras your questions. Of course, Arbiter. It is true, my friend, that most people agree on things such as free speech. The principles you named earlier, such as free speech, are indeed widely held. That is all I am saying here. My friend, you seem to have an unfortunate habit of questioning your own conclusions. Perhaps you would like to withdraw them. I was just testing how well you understood my points, is all. Yeah. Once again, I am responding to your points, so I chose to begin with them. However, that does not mean such things are universal goods. Simply put, nothing is absolute. When we think something is a universal truth, we are probably failing to account for all possibilities. I mean, yeah, like I said that earlier with your whole elimination argument. Can you back that up for me? Be patient, my friend. That is the next part of my lecture. I'm detailing my objection to your objection. How objectionable. Yelling things to deliberately create panic hardly seems an unquestionable good, does it? That is all I'm trying to say here. I really don't see what's wrong with yelling fire. What? Fire? Where? God damn it, Voltaire, were you playing with matches again? Oh my god, we are all going to die! We are already dead, we are going to die! Ah! Gentlemen, behold! No, wait. Worry not, there is no fire. Socrates, refrain from causing unnecessary panic in the future. Sorry. Old friend, I believe you have just demonstrated my point. You should always have the right to speak carelessly, but that does not mean doing so is good. I'm providing an example supporting my objection. In this case, I chose my counterexample because it deals directly with your free speech example. As morality is affected by situation, it cannot be objective. I think my statement is pretty clear, my friend. Your argument simply does not hold water. Morality still comes from the individual. Is that what he's saying? I think I just did. That is my conclusion? Is it? I mean, if I remember correctly, your philosophy is that morality comes from the individual, right? Yes, my friend, that is correct. I see. Protagoras, you have indeed raised an interesting counterpoint to mine. Thank you, old friend. Does that mean you are ready to accept the validity of my teachings? On the contrary, you see, you've also demonstrated why it would be foolish to do so. What? You just argued that morality can be affected by situation, correct? Yes. And actions that would be correct in one place could be incorrect in another. Indeed. Where are you going with this? Well, it's an interesting observation, but it runs against the grain of what you said earlier. For if morality is affected by situation, then there are clearly factors other than the individual at play. Oh wow, that's right. I don't believe it. It seems to me you have two choices, but both have the same result. You could either maintain the assertion that morality is situation dependent, and your philosophy is undermined. Or you could retract it, thus giving credibility to my original complaint. But either way, the idea that morality is entirely individual is thrown into question. What do you have to say to that? Ha! Socrates, your rhetorical techniques have not dulled in all these years. Perhaps my position is indeed on shakier ground than I realized. You have given me much to consider. I could write a thesis on it all. And you too, Protagoras. You just may have been onto something with your idea that the correct action can change based on situation. Finding out why it does, that's going to be the hard part. Protagoras, you are dismissed. Thank you for your input. Thank you, Arbiter. Socrates, I believe you have it in you to win this great wager, just as you did before. Wait, what? Goodbye, my old friend. Oh. What did he mean, as you did before? Ah, I thought you would have figured it out by now. Huh? Taking on the Arbiter's challenge is no easy task. In fact, throughout all of time, only one has ever had his wish granted. Only one? Yes, your namesake. The great thinker Socrates, the wisest man in Athens. Unlike the other philosophers, Socrates was never sure of his ideas. He was always questioning, always challenging himself and others in pursuit of the truth. Never satisfied with any of the answers that were provided, until he disappeared. Disappeared? Yes, without a trace. Simply vanished into the ether, never to be seen again. What happened to him? Was his wish to leave? No one is quite sure. The last person to see Socrates on this plane was René Descartes. And according to Descartes, the only thing Socrates said was, "I found it." Eureka! He found it? The answer. Wow! That's my namesake? I really hope I'm not expected to live up to that. Chapter 3, The Social Contract. Okay, here we go. Logically following on from individual morality. Well, the original Socrates may have bested the Arbiter's challenge, but we're two philosophers down, and I don't feel any closer to our goal. It always seems to be just out of reach, doesn't it? Do not worry. There are still near infinite perspectives to examine. In fact, I already have another philosopher ready for you to debate. Wonderful. So, who's the next philosopher? Is it another Greek dude? Because frankly, I'm getting sick of Greek dudes. No, this one is British. Oh, how exciting! Yes, I'm simply ecstatic. What's the matter, Socrates? Do you no longer wish to continue? Hold on, I never said that. Of course I wish to continue. Dad. Very well then. Give me a moment, Socrates, and I'll bring the new philosopher out. What we owe to each other. Hello? Arbiter, are you sure this is the right guy? He isn't doing anything. Maybe he's dead. Well, technically... Humbug! Eef! He can speak. Of course I can speak, you silly girl. I just chose not to. You waste time with small words, and small words are the money of fools. Arbiter, who is this guy? He may refer to me as Thomas Hobbes. You should know, Mr. Jones, that my mother gave birth to twins. Myself and Fear. By the end of the day, you will be thoroughly acquainted with both of us. Well, geez, isn't he a dramatic one? Hobbes, you may present your argument. Of course, Arbiter. Allow me to begin by describing to you the natural state of man. I am going to get a glass of water because I'm talking a lot in this stream, so I'll be right back. Sit tight. BRB. Alright, I'm back. As a history philosophy nerd, you're nerding out hard. Good. Yeah, this definitely feels like the kind of thing that, like college philosophy classes would cover, which is great because I never took any philosophy classes in college, and I feel like I'm missing out. So now I can kind of catch up. So this is good. I'm sure none of this is, like, new information for anybody who actually, studied philosophy. But I'm glad that it's, that you're getting enjoyment out of it. That's great. Thank you for the bits, 32-bit kid! Alright, the natural state. In the natural state, men find themselves equal and in competition for resources. Being selfish, they will go to any lengths to achieve their desires. This sets them at odds with every other man, creating a constant state of war. Ceaseless conflict makes life nasty, brutish, and short. And there we go. The natural state of mankind. Well, that's pessimistic. Natural state of mankind is selfish. But wait, you said nothing about morality. The natural state. According to Hobbes, in the natural state, every man is in constant war with others. Hobbes believes that man will always seek the greatest benefit to the self. Okay. Of course not. In the natural state, there is no morality. There is nothing binding us to respect one another, nothing stopping us from killing each other. What? Well, that's depressing. And ridiculous. Of course there's a sense of right and wrong. Arbiter, there's no way this philosophy can possibly be the correct answer. You seem rather sure of yourself, Mr. Jones. Shall I put your theories to the test? Gladly. People work together. Careful. People often help each other in order to further the overall good. Okay. Left to their own devices, men will all want the same things, but they cannot all get them. Mr. Jones, in the natural state, no man orders any other about. They all compete as equals, using only their natural facilities. The things we desire, food, water, and shelter, for example, they are not unlimited in quantity. The amount of people wanting vastly outstrips the quantity of the wanted. As a result, men must compete for their desires. The fact that men pursue their desires is the source of all the source of all human behavior, and as a result, my argument is dependent upon it. Men see what they want, and they will grub and squabble if necessary to get it, even to the extent of stabbing each other in the back. Hashtag not all men. Tell me, Mr. Jones, why do you stand here debating philosopher after philosopher? Do you simply do it for the fun of it? No, it's the only way I can get home. Exactly. Like all men, you are motivated by personal interest. So motivated that you will try something you, as an accountant, are not inclined to do. Think. As you can see, my point stands strong. Hey now. We just played another game with an accountant, Eli Beckett from Unavowed, and, pretty sure he's good at thinking. If men didn't wish to achieve their desires, there would be no conflict. Thus, their selfish pursuit is essential to my hypothesis. Unable to achieve the same ends, men must fight to gain an upper hand. In such a world, force and fraud are the only cardinal virtues. Yeesh. Talk about a bleak view of humanity. How can you be so sure? As men will do anything possible to achieve their goals, and they all want the same thing, in the natural state they have nothing to do but fight. Will two starving men ever let the other have the last slice of bread? Will two people in love with the same subject ever concede with ease? Of course not. In the natural state, when people want the same thing, they fight for it. Thus, men are at war, always and forever. Is that so? That is my conclusion, you fool. Ceaseless conflict makes life nasty, brutish, and short. Everyone fights endlessly from the womb to the grave. This tends to lend itself to a low standard of living. Can you support that statement? Indeed, in 3 parts. The first is that it is nasty. In the natural state, one of constant war, death is everywhere, disease, discomfort. The second is that it is brutish. With constant war, men are driven to do terrible things to one another, relying on brute strength to overcome one another. Instead of arguing with you, I'd be beating you over the head with a rock. And the third, that it is short. It's clear that long ago, when men lived in the natural state, their lives were much shorter than ours are today. The average age of death was in the mid-20s. You would be considered a very old man indeed. And so my statement is supported. It shows the consequences of my conclusion. It is important for one to consider the effects of their thoughts. But the effects of your thoughts are terrible. The world isn't perfect, Mr. Jones. I speak the truth, harsh as the truth may be. Okay. So constant state of war, huh? Hobbes, your argument here is about as weak as they come. You claim that people are in a constant state of war, but I see people cooperate every day. Is that so? Yes, societies are in fact built upon such cooperation. Employees in a business collaborate to create a product. Construction workers get together to build a house. Doctors work together to save their patients. Philosophers work together to find the truth. Exactly. Thank you, Arbiter. Well, Thomas Hobbes, if people were always at war, none of these things would be possible. Society as we know it couldn't exist. What do you have to say to that? I say, you are merely an observer of the obvious, Mr. Jones. Huh? You insult my intelligence. Do you really think I hadn't considered such things? Our sense of morality is what allows us to cooperate in such a fashion. But, wait, hold on. You said earlier there was no morality. Indeed, in the natural state, this is true. However, as such a state is extremely uncomfortable, we have long since moved beyond it. Allow me to explain to you, Mr. Jones, the step you have missed. At the core of mankind's self-interest is survival. However, in the natural state there is no security. Thus, mankind is impelled to seek peace, forming contracts between individuals. It is from such exchanges our sense of morality is born. And there you have it. Our moral rules, our society, our political systems, they all come from the social contract. A very compelling argument indeed. How did this happen? I thought for sure we were ready to move on. You walked right into this one, Dad. Helped him set it up and everything. Hobbes is one of the most prominent social contract philosophers. It's only natural he took his argument in this direction. What? You knew this? Why didn't you warn me? Sorry, I just assumed you already knew. I mean, that's kind of... It's not uncommon knowledge, you know? Is there a problem, Socrates? Or are you ready to accept the truth of my argument? Well, his argument seems pretty solid now, that's for sure. But something built on a premise so grim. I can't just accept it without examination. Arbiter, I'd like to ask Mr. Hobbes a few questions. Bah! Scholastic thinking. I hardly see the attraction in it. Come now, Hobbes. Very well, Mr. Jones. Give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. At the core of mankind's interest is survival. Above all else, we want to live. Power and knowledge don't mean anything to the dead. Unless you're stuck forever debating in some twisted philosophical afterlife. I have to get out of here. Tell me, Mr. Jones, do you enjoy being dead? It hasn't been so bad, actually. Oh? Yeah, it's been great. I've been meeting cool people like you. I've been mistaken for a several thousand-year-old missing person. Of course I would rather still be alive. I need to live. I'm very lively, I'll have you know. I think most people at my age would do anything to stay alive. And I just made your point for you. Indeed. You have my gratitude, Mr. Jones. Further defining the nature of man's self-interest, or rather prioritizing it, is essential to understanding the way our society works. However, in the natural state, there is no security. In the natural state, anyone is free to do whatever they please. This includes actions which would cause harm to other people. If we were in the natural state and I felt the desire, I could kill you without consequence, Mr. Jones. Assuming you are not already dead, of course. Is he threatening me? I hope you understand just how little security the natural state affords. Without consequence? I don't know about that. Our previous discussion illustrated the dangers of the natural state, Mr. Jones. But how can we know this state actually exists? It did, more or less, in the distant past. Before civilizations developed, ancient man was in much the same condition as he would be in the natural state. All of this is supported by archaeology, as well as the study of modern hunter-gatherer societies. Lack of security works in tandem with our previously established desires to naturally lead to the next step, Mr. Jones. Thus, mankind is impelled to seek peace, forming contracts between individuals. What exactly do you mean by contracts? Indeed, this could use some elaboration. Very well. By contract, I refer to an agreement between individuals. In such contracts, we agree to give up some of our personal freedoms, most notably our freedom to harm. Because others do as well, such an agreement confers unto everyone greater security. Huh. Interesting. Thus we form contracts agreeing to give up freedoms in exchange for security. The mutual forfeiture of rights creates a society where everyone is more secure. But most of the benefits of the social contract come from the other people giving up their rights. That is correct. Interesting. You yourself give countless examples of people working together. Do those not suffice? When the stronger man agrees to guard the weak in exchange for pay, in that instant a contract is formed. It details the logic that leads directly up to it. It is from such exchanges our sense of morality is born. I mean to say that morality comes from the social contract. We form treaties, and these treaties determine what we are allowed to do. Assuming, as we have, the natural state exists, and in the natural state man is free to do whatever he pleases, we can only conclude the restricted morality we know comes from contracts formed between men. How is that related to your conclusion? It isn't. It isn't? No, it isn't. A conclusion is hardly related to itself, is it? It just is. So, this is your conclusion. Why didn't he just say that? Okay. But hold it right there, Hobbes. I'll admit the individual parts of your philosophy sound good on paper, but they don't work quite so well when viewed as a whole. Is that so? Do explain. Gladly. Your social contract theory is based on the idea people are selfish, correct? Indeed. And they will go to any lengths to improve their own prosperity. Correct, which is why contracts must be formed. I'm a little confused. What exactly is the problem, Socrates? Isn't it apparent by now? Hold it, Hobbes! Drop that tuna fish sandwich! If the only benefits of the social contract come from other people giving up their rights, and people are as selfish as you claim, what is there to stop these oh-so-selfish individuals from breaking the contract after it's made? Why, that is a very good question. Working off Hobbes' own theory of human nature, men will always, always seek the most advantageous situation. Well, the most advantageous situation for anyone would be that they keep their rights when others give them up. So why would people ever keep their contracts? They wouldn't? Of course not. Everyone would stab each other in the back the moment they could get away with it. Hobbes, your ideas taken all together are self-defeating. There's no way the social contract could be formed in the way you've described. Nonsense! Mr. Jones, you are getting carried away. Ha! I think I've made good points. Laughter is nothing more than a reaction to sudden glory, Mr. Jones. And in your case, the glory you are reacting to is quite artificial. Typically... Oh, God. What? All of these things you are saying, they have occurred to me. They are, in fact, the obvious progression of thought. The fact that any self-interested man would break his contract is a problem, which is why I came up with the next step in the thought process. The next step? Oh wait, there's more. Or Ferengi, yeah. Or, you know, any rich person. Our obligation to the contract. Without obligation, selfish individuals are indeed likely to break the contract. However, such obligation can easily be created by fear, namely, fear of repercussions. This fear can, in turn, be created by empowering a sovereign. Such a ruler could then deal out punishments to those who break the contract. And as a result, the moral systems of the contract would remain intact. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just being sassy. I don't mean that that's actually what he's saying, but, yeah. And there we go. As you can see, Mr. Jones, my philosophy is quite sustainable. The social contract simply needs proper enforcement. Contracts need to be enforced. You know what? I think I actually missed talking to Euthyphro. Dad? Are you gonna be okay? I don't know if there's a problem here, Ari. Contracts need to be enforced. Every contract requires obligations powerful enough to enforce its morals. I mean, we just needed to find the nature of morality. Maybe this is it. Do you honestly believe that? Do you think morality is determined by the rules dictators enforce? Well, no. Well, then keep looking. There has to be a flaw in his argument somewhere. Are you two finished chatting over there? Yes, Arbiter, sorry. Hobbes, you may have thought through my previous challenges, but my life depends on my only accepting the true nature of morality, and somehow I just can't accept this is it. Bah! Humbug! Very well then, Mr. Jones. I have all the time in the world. Examine away. Oh man, boss fight music over here. Without obligation, selfish individuals are indeed likely to break the contract. As you observed, men will break the contract to their own benefit. Keeping them from doing such requires either great incentive towards keeping it or disincentive from breaking it. Oh yes, just give me a moment. The most advantageous situation for anyone would be that they keep their rights while others give them up. Everyone would stab each other in the back the moment they could get away with it. My name is Socrates Jones, and I am an imbecile. There, enough support for you? Yes, I believe that will do. In order to find a solution, one must first understand the problem. Here, I am detailing the problem. However, such obligation can easily be created by fear, namely, fear of repercussions. Your twin sibling, fear! Fear repels us from its source. If breaking the contract was connected with something men feared, they would be compelled to respect it. So, like, a horde of zombies? Excuse me? Well, people fear zombies, so if breaking the contract was tied to unleashing zombies, I think my dad gets it. Let's move on. For once, we agree. Yeah, you know, everyone just kind of has, like, a horde of zombies in their back pocket. Tell me, Mr. Jones, are you familiar with the concept of hell? In most Christian sects, fear of hell is used as a major motivator in keeping the tenets of the faith. For many, it is an even more effective motivator than the promise of heaven. Spare the rod, spoil the child. There are countless situations in which fear is used to enforce the public good. And how is this related to your conclusion? I'm describing the solution to the aforementioned problem. Right, but what if you don't believe in hell? This fear can, in turn, be created by empowering a sovereign. What do you mean by this exactly? Simple. The people give power to a ruler who is able to enforce the contract. By give power, you mean form an agreement with? Indeed. As in a contract. Yes, in exchange for the power, he grants order and protection. Interesting. Uh-huh. Okay, I see where this is going. The sovereign forms a contract with the people to enforce their rules. Hey, Samuel Stokes music! Welcome. The people agree to obey the sovereign. They give him power. In return, the sovereign punishes those who disobey the social contract. What do you have to support this statement? There is an agreement between the people and their protector. If the protector fails his duties, his people may rebel. In this way, the people form a contract with their ruler. It details the process through which the sovereign gains the power needed to solve our little people problem. Excuse me. Such a ruler could then deal out punishments to those who break the contract. Imprisonment, flaying, hanging. A ruler will be able to deal out justice as appropriate to those who deserve it. Do you know what the law is? Yes? Have you ever heard of the law without the government? The higher power of the sovereign is necessary for such systems of enforcement to exist. I have already established fear is essential to the contract, and I believe a sovereign is essential to create this fear. Here, I detailed the why and the how. And as a result, the moral systems of the contract would remain intact. The people problem. Yeah, you know. You thoroughly despise Hobbes. I can see why. The sovereign provides the obligation the social contract needs to survive. Our society hasn't fallen apart yet, has it? So man, for all his inadequacies, must be doing something right. That's a matter of perspective. Save your political musings for a sequel, girl. Ha 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 ha! Because that's what the sequel is going to be about. This is my conclusion. Okay, so right, sovereign forms a contract, but who watches the watcher, so to speak? Hobbes. I will admit your philosophy is very interesting from a political perspective, but as a basis of morality, it simply won't stand. Mr. Jones, even now you lack sensible qualities such as fear. I mean, I'm already dead. What are you going to do to me? Haven't you learned not to make such brash statements? Brash? This time, I think not. Boys, enough grandstanding. Get to the point. Erp. Hobbes, you said our obligation to the social contract comes from the pressures laid upon us by the sovereign, correct? Correct. And the sovereign's power to apply such pressures comes from a contract between him and the people, yes? Absolutely. Well then, Hobbes, answer me this. What obligates the king to follow his contract with his people? You may have added a layer of obligation, Hobbes, but you haven't fixed anything. The problem's still exactly the same. The king, being selfish, will take advantage of his people. And we are back where we started. No matter. Just another moment of your time, and I will lay out what binds the king to his contract. God. No! I don't need to hear it, Hobbes. What? How dare you? The fact is, we can do this forever. I can continue to point out the lack of obligation in your morality, and you can attempt to provide a source. You are curing the symptoms and not the disease. The question you need to answer is not what obligates the king. If the source of obligation is the social contract, then it can only be another contract. Instead, answer me this. What obligates us to keep our contracts? What makes them the source of morality? Can you answer this, Hobbes? Well... Dad, you actually stumped him. This is the core of your problem, Hobbes. Morality based in contracts leads to an infinite regression of obligations. Thus, it can't possibly be the true source. Gah! Wow, Dad, let's see him counter that. Well, Hobbes, how can something that requires obligation be the source of all obligation? It just doesn't make sense. Your philosophy is hobbled, Hobbes. Well, you see, preposterous. The sovereign will, the fear, it creates in us a mechanical drive to break down, bug. Social contract is circular. Yeah, that makes sense. I see that now. Socrates, you know what my last words were before I died. Now I am about to take my last voyage, a great leap into the dark. I desired rest, a life finally free from fear and discomfort. I did not wish to be trapped in this realm, debating for all eternity. Accepting the Arbiter's challenge was a foolish choice, Mr. Jones, but needless to say, I can understand why you did so. And ignorant as you are, you have given me reason to re-examine my principles. I shall now take my leave. Chapter 4, The Pursuit of Happiness. Well, I must say, Socrates, I'm impressed. Huh? Hobbes holds significant clout here in the intelligible realm. His ideas influenced later prominent thinkers such as John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and John Rawls. A lot of Johns. Besting him, or even getting him to question the logic of his ideas, is a significant accomplishment. So does this mean Dad gets to come home now? No, the door is still closed. Sorry, that was Socrates. No, the door is still closed. Indeed. Your successes here, while impressive, cannot be construed as providing an answer. They only mean that Socrates is ready to face even greater challenges. Great. Okay then, so which arrogant know-it-all do I have the honor of facing next? I believe that would be me. Wait, is that... John Stuart Mill at your service? It is! Oh, look at her heart eyes. It is... Who? It is who? John Stuart Mill! One of the most prominent utilitarian philosophers, Dad! He was a member of Parliament and an early feminist as well. I've mentioned him at least 4 times today. I'm sorry. Not to worry, old chap. I'm sure we will get to know each other quite well by the end of the day. Shall we begin? I'm a little bit familiar with the utilitarian school of thought. But it'll be good to get a refresher. It's been a while since I've thought about it. What's the... Oh, okay. So, before on my channel, I've plugged Better Myths, which is like basically just a guy retelling like various like folk tales and legends and mythologies in basically internet speak. He has, I believe, one of his friends does a similar thing. I believe he's called Philosophy Bro, and it's basically like a very similar concept. It's just presenting like philosophical arguments in internet speak. Let me see if I can find the link. Yeah, it's just philosophybro.com. And yeah, I think that's where I learned about most of what I know about these concepts. I think that's where I learned about utilitarianism. So yeah, that's a fun website if you are so inclined. Okay, so let's at least get started with Mill, because I don't have a whole lot of time left, but I'm not going to do the whole thing probably. We'll see. Let's save while I'm here. Morality comes from happiness. In our society, good comes from the accomplishment of some desirable end. However, happiness and freedom from suffering are the only things truly desirable as ends. Thus, actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, wrong as they tend to produce unhappiness. As a result, one should choose every action in order to maximize overall happiness. And there you have it, gentlemen. Happiness must be the source of all good. Good is happiness. This is the core idea behind act utilitarianism. Yee, he's so amazing! Isn't he amazing, Dad? I guess. He's about 200 years older than you. Tone it down a notch. Well, Socrates, you have heard John's presentation. What is your intended course of action? Well, Dad, look, this is the closest thing to the nature of morality we are going to get. How do you know that? I've studied him for ages, that's how. He's brilliant. Come on, Dad, if you just acknowledge that, you can get out of here. Yeah, this bullshit. Well, Socrates, do you accept Mill's principles? Actually, I believe I'll ask the MP a few questions if you don't mind. What? By all means, go ahead. It is only healthy for individuals to voice their queries. Trapped thoughts have no use after all. Okay, in our society, good comes from the accomplishment of some desirable end. What do you mean by that? Simply, good is created by achieving or obtaining things people desire. Only this will improve the quality of life. What evidence do you have to support that? In our society, the things we value have positive effects. For example, we value good parenting because it produces good members of society. There are countless such examples. Unless you have some tangible counter-argument, I think this idea stands on its own merits. Pinpointing the origin of good seems like a logical place to begin our search. Wouldn't you agree, old chap? Yes! Yes, I would! Thank you, Ariadne. Your support is greatly appreciated. Good is happiness, but Mill believes something can be called good as long as it increases overall happiness. However, happiness and freedom from suffering are the only things truly desirable as ends. Out of all the things we can strive for, happiness is the only true end. Everything else only serves to support this end. Most things which mankind values, love, peace, property, are valued because they further some other end. If we follow such value chains to their conclusions, they all come to rest on happiness. For example, peace furthers security, which furthers luxury, which furthers happiness. See? Very well reasoned. Here I further refine the idea of good by narrowing down the possible desirable ends. Thus, actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, wrong as they tend to produce unhappiness. If your actions make people happy, there must be something positive about them. Likewise, if your actions make people unhappy, there must be some negative quality to them. Simply put, an action is as right as the happiness it creates. But happiness for whom? For the self or for others? The overall population. Distribution is irrelevant. Huh, interesting. Happiness distribution. According to Mill, it is irrelevant how happiness is distributed as long as it increases overall. This seems pretty self-sufficient to me. Here I narrow down the pursuit of goods as far as it can possibly be narrowed, laying forth the final support for my conclusion. As a result, one should choose every action in order to maximize overall happiness. The most moral act is the one that most increases net happiness. If you need further clarification, I suggest you re-examine my previous statements. In my opinion, it is the natural product of my previous observations. If furthering happiness determines how right your actions are, clearly one should take the course that furthers it the most. My good fellow, that is my conclusion. Oh, righto then. What are you doing? I'm examining his reasoning, Ari. But his philosophy makes sense. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm sorry, Ari, but I can't take that risk. Okay. It's irrelevant how happiness is distributed as long as it increases overall. Good is happiness. Hello. Um, I get. Okay, so yeah, like there's certainly a flaw here, but I'm not quite sure how to present it. Hmm. Okay. John Stuart Mill. Yes, Socrates? I understand the reasoning behind your philosophy, but applying your reasoning in all situations creates some worrisome implications. What? Dad, are you serious? Mill's philosophy is perfect. You can't just go continue, Socrates. Gladly. The problem here is that happiness is not equivalently exchanged. It can be gained and lost in unequal measure. Since your philosophy does not care how happiness is distributed, this leads to some unfortunate scenarios. Oh, really? Do explain. Let's say, for example, that I'd gain twice as much happiness from punching Hobbes in the face as he'd lose from being punched. The guy was already pretty miserable, after all. According to your philosophy, in this situation, punching Hobbes would be entirely moral, as it would increase overall happiness. But as much as Hobbes was a jerk, I can't believe random violence would be the right course of action. Indeed. I think I prefer my debates not devolving into fistfights. But Dad, that's just one example. Well, then let me provide another, Ari. Let's say there was a monster that would gain far more happiness from eating you than you'd ever gain over the course of your life. Would the moral action then be to feed yourself to the monster? Mill's philosophy would say yes, but that seems preposterous, does it not? Dad, what are you doing? That situation would never arise. Bringing imaginary monsters into a debate? Is that really how you intend to get home?
Nonsense.
Actually, your father raises some good points. What? But Ariadne, he who knows only his own side of the case, knows little of that. As thinkers, it is our job not only to challenge the thoughts of others, but to challenge ourselves. Both thought experiments Socrates presented are valid, and both are troubling. Judging every choice as it arises seems, upon reflection, difficult to defend. Are you serious? Please don't let my dad run all over you. Not to worry, Ariadne, the core of my philosophy still stands strong. Allow me a moment, gentlemen, to present an alternate position. Rules that promote happiness. The problem you have described can be addressed through the application of universal rules. These rules should be chosen in order to create the most happiness possible with as little harm as possible. Also, how do you measure happiness exactly? What are the units that we're using here? It's all completely arbitrary. While these rules may not maximize overall happiness, they will at least guarantee net happiness never decreases. Actions can be considered moral when they follow such rules. As you can see, it is still possible for happiness to be the source of morality. I believe I shall refer to this approach as rule utilitarianism. An interesting evolution of your ideas indeed. You see, Dad, Mill's philosophy is solid, as I told you. Because, I actually studied this stuff. Whatever happened to me having to decide for myself? Yeah, well, that was before you hopped on the smug wagon. The smug wagon? The unit of happiness is a squee. Yes. This piece of cake gives me 5 squees. This Pop-Tart, on the other hand, only gives me 1 squee. Socrates, shall we continue? I guess so. The problem you've described can be addressed through the application of universal rules. You described to me a problem of distribution. The fact act utilitarianism does not care where happiness goes. This can be addressed by following general rules, which I will elaborate upon later. How will it be addressed? Because these rules apply equally to everyone, the problem of distribution is irrelevant. They have the same chance of helping one group or individual as any other. Huh. Will that really be the case? I suppose, in most ways, this is my conclusion. You began with your conclusion? Dad, don't you think you were trying a bit hard to find things to criticize? Nothing wrong with beginning with your conclusion, as long as you back it up. These rules should be chosen in order to create the most happiness possible with as little harm as possible. What do you mean by rules? Are we talking about contracts? No. While Hobbes' theory, this one could result in some of the same guidelines, the rationale behind their existence would be different. There are certain rules which, if always followed, would make society a happier place than if they were not. These are the rules which meet the qualifications of rule utilitarianism. As happiness is still the only ultimate end, the only rules that make sense would be the ones that further that end. Thus, it makes sense the rules which govern our actions should be chosen accordingly. Here I detail the form that the previously mentioned rules will take. It's an essential step in bringing everything together. Most of the time, the rules we follow should result in a net gain of happiness for society. While this may not always be the case, such as a situation where one's free speech hurts another's feelings, society is much better off if these rules are always applied than if they are never applied. Something like the idea of universal morality being found flawed due to a floating point rounding error in the squee value assigned to everything. Oh god, we were wrong all along. No wonder everyone's miserable. Of course, old chap. Let us consider the rule that citizens are considered innocent until proven guilty. I will demonstrate this rule increases overall happiness in most situations. With this rule, any man knows he will get a fair trial and thus is protected from false accusation. True, sometimes guilty criminals get away as a result, but can you imagine a world where this rule were not applied? Power-hungry prosecutors would run innocent men into the ground, with defense attorneys having to fight against ridiculous odds, just to prove them innocent. Millisqueeze! That sounds terrible! Yes, it truly would be. Might make an interesting game, though. I see what you did there. While these rules may not maximize overall happiness, they will at least guarantee net happiness. Right, we already said that. Blah, 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 blah. This premise explores how this approach applies to the core of my philosophy, happiness as an end. Vanilla squeeze. Oh no. Would they be lip squeaking? Actions can be considered moral when they follow such rules. I believe this is clear. If you follow the rules, you will be acting morally. Based on everything I've established here, following the rules will promote happiness most of the time. Thus, we can assume those who follow the rules are performing morally. Most of the time. So even when the rules create unhappiness, we should still follow them? Well, no. Theoretically, if in a certain situation following a rule created enough unhappiness, that rule should be revamped, broken, and replaced with a more nuanced rule. Huh. How interesting. Rule nuances. Okay. If following a rule would create unhappiness, we should replace it with a more nuanced rule. It demonstrates the implications of it. If we accept these rules confer the moral good, then those who live by these rules are acting morally. Oh, nope. Okay, not that one. I'm sorry, but I'm not quite seeing your point, old chap. That will be because there's no point to see. I officially don't know this person. Following a rule would create unhappiness, we should replace it with a more nuanced rule. Right, but okay. The game's up, old chap. Oh no, Dad, don't you dare throw this away. I dare. Ari, I know you idolize this man, but it's time to accept his ideas are not my way out of here. For the philosophy he just proposed boils down to the same one as before. Now hold on, I think that's a bit unfair, is it? John Stuart Mill, you said rules should be created along lines which further happiness, correct? Of course. And when the rules fail to further happiness, they should be replaced with more nuanced rules. Yes, indeed. What is the problem? That's very different from his original idea. Is that so? Then answer me this. If you keep making rules more and more nuanced, where will you wind up? Huh? You'll wind up with the idea we should act in order to maximize happiness. What? The fact is, no matter what rules Mill comes up with, they'll always be several steps removed from his original idea, and thus they are imperfect promotions of happiness. We'll have to keep replacing these rules when they fall short until we're back where we started. Ah, excellent deduction, Socrates. Indeed, most insightful. No matter how you spin it, rule utilitarianism ultimately boils down to act utilitarianism. And thus, all the problems we originally established are still there. Our happiness is just waiting for a giant monster to come and gobble it up. No. No! No! Ah! Oh, look what you've done, Socrates. Ari? You're the monster, Dad, the real monster. Don't you see what you're doing? This could have been your only hope of getting back. Our only hope of getting back. Ari, you are useless, Dad. Did you even stop to consider? I wasted my life to give you this chance. What did you just say? What did you mean just now, Ari? I put my own life on the line so you could take the challenge. What? Are you serious? I thought if there was a chance, any chance, we should take it. But Mill is one of the best philosophers out there, and you've run right over him without a thought. You're going to wind up throwing away both our lives for the sake of your stupid style points. Ariadne Jones? I understand where you are coming from, but your father has not done ill by your sacrifice. Not since my days in Parliament have I been subjected to such spirited critique. Mill, listen, both of you. Unquestionably, it is possible to do without happiness. It is done involuntarily by 19/20ths of mankind. But you don't have to be among them. Ari, why didn't you discuss this with me? Would you have taken the challenge if I had? Dad, I couldn't just let you die. If I had, the loss of happiness would have been too great. But the Arbiter told me the challenge was the only way to bring you back, and the reward could only match what was at stake. So What were you thinking, Ari? You should have gone home. You'd have done the same thing if it were me. Yes, well, you're my daughter, and you're my father, and believe it or not, I don't want to lose you. I did this because I honestly thought you deserved the chance, and I've been helping you however I could. But you're not even taking this seriously. How could you say that? You face philosophers with so many different ideas, so many different outlooks. Any one of them could have been onto something, but you've torn all of them apart without a thought. Your cunning remarks, your biting comments. You don't really care about getting home, you're just showing off. Look, Ari, it's true I've been getting a little carried away. I've never been good at this stuff, and you've always loved it. I guess I'm just starting to see why. But it doesn't matter, does it? In the end, you'll still blaze through the options presented to you, tearing them apart because you're so sure they are wrong. No, Ari, it's actually the opposite. I feel like I don't know anything, and I can't accept their ideas without understanding them inside and out. Especially now I know I'm not the only one at stake. I mean, I don't know anything is a very Socratic thing to say. The only thing we can be sure of is that we know nothing. I'm not here to prove them wrong, I'm here to see if they are right. I'm sorry. Huh? Mill was right. You've really been working hard. It's okay, Ari. I understand. Really? Yeah, your dad's a dupe sometimes. You shouldn't have done something like that. But I'll ground you for it when we make it home. And promise me you'll never take up gambling, okay? You're smart, but you don't have a knack for playing the odds. Heh, I guess not. Arbiter, I'm tired of this stupid world. Bring out your best philosopher. It's high time I provided returns on my daughter's bet. Okay, I think On that note, I'm going to end there. I might actually continue this next week because I'm definitely enjoying this, and I feel like there probably isn't a whole lot left to this game. So let's save here. So I might do this again on next Tuesday, and then tomorrow we'll continue with Cook Serve Delicious 3. And let me reiterate that this game has a sequel coming out, and the devs are looking for people to cover the game, to cover this game, and also possibly the sequel. So if you are a streamer, or if you are a YouTuber, or if you know anybody who is a streamer or a YouTuber and who might have interest in this game or in its sequel, then yeah, get in touch with. I believe their handle is at pro_philosopher on Twitter. And yeah, and this game is free on Steam if you want to play it yourself. Yeah, and that's about it. Oh, and I still have my straw poll going for what game I'm gonna play after this, which is right here. We've got some close contenders for the winner, but I extended the deadline by another week because this kind of came up, and I was like, oh, actually, I'll slot this in between games, and then I'll just like, oh, we'll push the next game back to after this. So yeah, we'll do that. So I'll probably finish this game next week, I'm guessing, and then I don't know, there might be more Pro Philosopher 2 in the future when that comes out. Kind of up in the air at the moment, but let's see. Ooh, Aphada Cthulhu is playing God of War. The 2018 one. I'm going to raid him because that's a good game. And I should play Ragnarok. I have Ragnarok. Haven't gotten around to playing it yet. Yes, I am planning on using the automapper thingy for Eye of the Beholder. I don't know how I'll fit it into the stream. I want to actually like put it on screen so you guys can follow along. But I will figure that out if and when it happens. Because yeah, I definitely need an automapper for that game. I do not want to play a game like that with no map. I mean, if I need to, I'll just make my own. But yeah, having an automapper would be amazing. So yeah, Spectrum Retreat is interesting. I watched someone else stream it a while back, and it was like, yeah, no, this is kind of my jam. You know, kind of like first person puzzly kind of portal looking game. So yeah, I'll get around to it, I'm sure. There's a lot of games that are my jam, honestly. I have pretty varied tastes, I think. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and please check out Pro Philosopher, and if you want to stream it or make videos about it, do that. And I will see you tomorrow for Cook Serve Delicious 3. Oh, and I just unrated. Oops. Let me redo that. I said raid, damn it. Raid. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I have nothing else. Have a good rest of your evening or day or time zone, whatever. See ya tomorrow. Bye.